people. Welcome to the Footy channel. But before we get into today's show, if you do enjoy what you see, then please don't forget to smash the like. It does help the channel up the search, and it means new viewers find it more easily. So please do smash the like. Also, if you're brand new at the channel, come in to subscribe. Come be part of this great community. Help us get towards 1,300. Also, hit the bell notification. That tells when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. If you want to become a member, it's 99p. You can do that clicking the join button. And if you want to make a donation to the channel, you can do that clicking on the $sign in the chat, using the super chat function, super thanks, and all money reinvested back in the channel. Right, okay, so today we're talking about What a Shambles. Absolutely, that's a story. But before we get into that, let's talk about the main story we've seen across the media this morning, and that is Dan Ashworth has left Manchester United. So our ex-sporting director has departed from Man United now. Was he sacked? Was it mutual consent? It could mean he's sacked, regardless, mutual consent. It's just a posh way of probably putting it as, or a polite way of saying he's been sacked. So rather than humiliating him. Do you know what? He's been there 5 months. And look, gone. Unbelievable, isn't it? But do you know what? We don't care. Because Dan, the man, done the dirty on us at Newcastle, didn't he? His secret emails with Man United. And then also not only the secret emails with Man United, but also the fact that we left our club, that he wanted to be there. He was shoved on gardening leave. Jim Ratcliffe or Ratface, whichever one you want to call him, decided to end up paying us £10 million for Ashworth. 5 months later, he's gone. Sacked. Do you know what? Karma, Dan Ashworth. Karma. What goes around comes around. And it's come back and bit you in the arse big time now. And do you know what? It's the club that keeps on giving, Man United, isn't it, really? 13th in the table, still below us. And, look, lost to Forest yesterday. And, yeah. So, well done, Dan Ashworth. You got what you wanted, and the grass isn't always greener. The grass isn't always greener, Dan Ashworth. So, there we have it. Right, okay. Now, let's get on to today's show. So, today, we are talking about What a Shambles. And what I mean by shambles is, look, what is going on at the moment at Newcastle United? What can be done to fix things? Because what we're seeing is, as I see, it's a total and utter shambles. After that display yesterday, it was very disappointing. Not just extremely disappointing, very disappointing. We didn't show up really, did we? First half, we showed up. Second half, we just sort of caved in and let Brentford run the show, basically. We were just awful second half. But there's a lot going on in that game yesterday that throws questions up to not just players, but also management as well. So if we go back to yesterday and post-match, this is a little snippet of what Bruno had to say after the game as a captain. He looked absolutely devastated, let's be honest. And he should be. He's the captain of our club. Right, this is what Bruno had to say.
First half we have some good moments, but the second half we become a mess. After the third goal, we lost our way, we lost control. We become a mess in the pitch. Very disappointed. I think after the last game against Liverpool, we would arrive here today and play our best football. First half, I think we did some good stuff, but we have to stop to concede. We have been conceding a lot this season. We've got Champions League. We didn't concede as much as we have been given. This is not a problem about just the defense. It's a problem of midfield, a problem for the attack. It's the team problem. We have to stop this. But our season, being honest, have been very, very disappointing.
I guess the question that the fans have is...
So, there you have it from Bruno. Yes, the season has been very disappointing, Bruno. We have conceded far too many goals. 14 goals, in fact, away from home, which is absolutely criminal, isn't it, really? Where, I go back to a couple of seasons ago. Where's the press? Where's the intensity gone? Where's that gone out of the game? Because we had that in abundance. We were brushing teams aside. Now we're struggling. We have a great record at Brentford. All of a sudden, that great record's gone. Brentford haven't lost at home this season, and you can see why they haven't lost at home this season. But there again, we gifted them goals. Harvey Barnes. What the hell was that pass yesterday? Straight into the path of Wissa, who then went through and scored. Made it 2-1 to Brentford. Okay, we hit back within a few minutes through Harvey Barnes. He made amends for that. You know, the third goal, another defensive error. I mean, the first goal was a defensive error because Lewis Hall but the third goal, free kick, keeper takes a free kick, Flecking, straight over, completely over everybody. Nathan Collins gets onto it, who himself is a centre-half. He gets onto it, and he scores like a striker. But he should never have been given that time to score. So then we go 3-2 down. And then when they score the fourth goal, where was the defence again for Shawty? Shawty is a quick player. And I said that yesterday. Shawty is a very quick player. And if there's one person who don't want getting on the ball, it's him. But we give him the ball, and what happened? He scores the goal. You know, and it's not just the defence, but it's the goalkeeper as well. Pope made an error yesterday, which, thankfully, he got bailed out by Dan Burn. Now, I hope he buys Dan Burn a couple of pints, because I'll tell you what, he owes Dan Burn big time for that. Because that could have been 5-2. And that would have just put the icing on the cake on our display yesterday afternoon in that second half. Because that second half was an absolute shambles, let's be honest. First half, we looked great. Second half, we were a shambles. And in that first half, I was screaming at the TV because, look, the two corners Jacob Murphy got, they did not go straight in the box on Murphy. They were short corners to Isak, then passed to Hall, and then Hall put the ball in the box. We had no proper set piece taker on the pitch. Lewis Hall can't take a corner from that side. He's got to go to the other side to take the corner to get the in-swinger in. And, and I'm like, why have we not got a set piece taker? We've dropped Tonali. We've dropped Gordon to the bench. They had great games against Liverpool on Wednesday night. And yet they're on the bench. He said Tonali come off with a bit of cramp. Right, okay, fair enough. He's come off with a little bit of cramp. But geez, surely that doesn't stop him from playing on Saturday. Even if he'd only played an hour, he could have made a big difference for us. Plus he would have been able to take set pieces. If Gordon was on the pitch, he would have took that corners and then, no problem whatsoever. I just didn't understand the tactics at all from Eddie. Anyway, this is what Eddie had to say after the game, and I think a lot of fans need to listen to this carefully. So here we go. Here's Eddie Howe's version.
I think there was a lot of individual errors naturally today because of the weather. So I think that made it a scrappy game from both sides. I think there was a lot of moments where it was hard for defenders to judge with the wind, but that's no excuse for us. Because I think if you look at the goals, the wind's not directly involved in sort of any of the goals from us. It's, as I say, it's individual errors. We weren't.
Right. So listening to Eddie Howe there, he did say the weather played a part, but he wasn't actually blaming the weather. Now a lot of fans have jumped on this and said, "Oh, he's blaming the wind for this, the weather." No, he didn't blame the weather. He did blame the weather, but then he sort of went off and said no, but it was down to individual errors. It was down to individual errors. Yes, the wind did play a part. We had the wind with us in the first half. They had the wind with them in the second half. But the wind did not play a part in any of those goals. They were shambolic defensive errors and errors of play. I mean, as I say, the criminal pass was spawned straight into path of Wissa. There's one player you do not want to give it to, and that's Wissa. Him and Mbeumo are on fire this season for scoring at the moment for Brentford. And Wissa must have thought, it's like being given a sweet in a candy shop. You must have thought, wow, can't believe this. Christmas isn't for another couple of weeks yet, but I've been given an early Christmas present. And he's gone through and scored. As I say, the defensive errors we were making yesterday were just atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And then not only were them atrocious, we were lucky as well before, I think it was before Brentford got that third goal, Wissack could have scored. Somehow it sort of bounced off Pope and then hit the post. We got lucky again. We could have been 3-2 down then. But the ball over the top from Flecking, it was just a punt over the top. Where's our defence? Where are they? What are you doing? Why aren't you defending this? So the players have to stand up and take some responsibility. Because why do we go from playing Liverpool and, okay, getting a last-minute draw against them because their keeper made an error, but we get a last-minute draw against Liverpool. We outplayed Liverpool in the first half. Okay, second half, they come back into the game and they ended up going ahead, but we got it back. But why is it we play well against Liverpool, but we've gone to Brentford, play well in the first half, second half, totally and utterly drop off, and boom, just give Brentford the 3 points and the game. Why? Why can't we keep this up? It's the same when we've beat. This season, we have struggled with a lot of teams. Okay, we had 10 men against Southampton first game of the season. That's always the first game nerves. But we struggled against Southampton. We got the 1-0 win. VAR helped us out at Bournemouth. Fulham, we were a shambles. We were disgraceful at Fulham. We deserved to be beaten 3-1. Man City, we turned up and we played them. And we got a 1-1 draw against City at St James's Park. So, you know, we got that draw there. Spurs. Yes, okay, Spurs were all over us. They had chances in that second half. They should have probably wrapped the game up, but they didn't. We won that game 2-1. We turned up against Chelsea in the Cup and beat them 2-0, albeit they had a reserve side out. Let's be honest, they were not that great, were they? You know, João Felix was awful. Their keeper looked rocky as hell. So, look, you can sort of see we were playing their reserves, basically. Although there's still a lot of money's worth on that pitch, but we still beat them convincingly 2-0. We turned up against Arsenal. We beat them 1-0. But why is it we're turning up against these big teams and beating them, but we can't seem to beat the lesser teams? Now, I'm not saying Brentford's a lesser team by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. But why can't we turn up and beat these teams? We couldn't beat Palace. We ended up with a draw. We had no shots on target in that game. You know, no shots whatsoever on target in that game. Are our bigger players turning up when they feel like turning up? I mean, Tonali missed a header yesterday, probably should have scored as well. So did Murphy, he should have scored. I mean, if Isak hadn't pissed about in the box, trying to be too clever and too cute to put the ball in the back of the net, as soon as you just pass the keeper wide and you just smash it and put it in there. Because at worst, if the defender sticks an arm out, it's a penalty. So, why was Isak messing about yesterday? He's not immune from criticism either. Jacob Murphy should have scored in that first half. The substitutions yesterday were questionable. Very, very questionable, actually. After Harvey Barnes scored that goal, what else did Harvey Barnes actually do in the game? Not an awful lot. But yet, Eddie Howe brings on Gordon and Tonali, takes off Joe Linton. That's fair enough. Joe Linton looked out of gas. Joe Linton doesn't look 100% fit, let's be honest. He doesn't look 100% fit. So Joe Linton comes off. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I understand that. To bring Tonali on. But you're taking Murphy off for Gordon and pushing Barnes to the right-hand side when Barnes is going to be non-existent on the right-hand side. And I thought Murphy didn't do too bad yesterday. I thought he was okay. His cross, that cross for Isak for the first goal, that was a great cross. Isak got his head on it. They tried to claim offside, but it was never offside. But I thought Murphy was okay. And I didn't think he deserved to be dragged off, if I'm honest. So he could be harsh. He could feel harsh that he was taken off the field. It should have been Barnes. And then obviously, We then have Miggy comes on. Again, didn't do a lot. One shot, went well wide. But then the most bizarre substitution was when he brought Trippier on. He took Lewis Hall off. And I'm thinking, the hell's he doing? Why have you taken Lewis Hall off for? He's been all right, Lewis Hall. To bring Trippier on, and then you move Livramento to left back. And it's like, what's going on, Eddie Howe? What's going on? You know, to me, the way I see it is, I look at this and I'm thinking, is Eddie Howe losing the will here? Is he losing the plot? Because the substitutions are baffling. But they've been baffling for quite a long while now. And it's always when we go down, he's reacting. He shouldn't be reactive, he should be proactive. At half time, what we should have done, and I know hindsight's a funny thing, but at half time we should have brought Gordon and Tonali on. He could have then took off Joe Linton, and he could have took off maybe Harvey Barnes and said, right, okay, on you go, Tonali and Joe Linton. And Gordon, get on there and go and get us the win. But he brings them on after Brentford go ahead and on the 60th minute. You can basically call it when he's going to bring these subs on. You can basically say up at the 60-minute mark there'll be substitutions now. You go back to the Wolves game when we were 1-0 down. He made a reaction at half time. He brought on 3 subs and it worked because we went out and beat Wolves 2-1. But we're not seeing enough of that from Eddie Howe. And why are we not seeing enough of that from Eddie Howe? You know, we need to see more of that. So, something's got to give here. Something's got to give. Because this is a man who was starting, I think, to feel pressure. Now, I've always been for this guy, and I've always said, I want to see this guy succeed at Newcastle, bring trophies to Newcastle, get us into European competitions. At the moment, I'm not seeing this now. And I've not been seeing this for a while. Because this season has been disappointing. As Bruno says, it's been a very disappointing season so far. And yes, it has. Because we're sitting in 12th place. Okay, the gap's not huge to European place at the moment. But I'm saying at the moment. Next up, we've got Leicester, who are fighting to stay in the Premier League. Who've now got a new manager. So that isn't going to be an easy game now at St James's Park. Now for me, as I say, I've always wanted Eddie to succeed. But now I can't see him doing it. Because I look at what he's doing, looking at all the different substitutions he's making. A lot of it's baffling. Some of his team selections are baffling. Why change a winning team from, well, not a winning team, sorry, but why change that team from Wednesday? We've got a draw against Liverpool. Let's be honest, Liverpool have been on it this season. You know, as I said yesterday, the second half, they brought on players. Liverpool, you know, they brought on £80 million Szoboszlai, they brought on £60 million Diaz, they brought on Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's come through their academy and possibly off to Madrid next season. And they changed that game. We haven't got that on our bench. We haven't got that luxury. Because you look at our bench, we've got Lloyd Kelly, Lewis, we've got Matt Target, Miggy Almiron sitting on that bench. We haven't got them big, massive game changers like Liverpool have got. And I know a lot of people say it falls down to the PSR. Yes, it falls down to the PSR. But we're sick of hearing about PSR. Obviously, we had money in the summer to spend because we wouldn't have gone out and tried to get Guy for 70 million or whatever it was. So we've obviously got money to spend. Player trading is hard because apart from Bruno, Isak, Gordon and Botman, who else can we realistically sell and get good money for? Because I don't see anybody in that team. There might be a £60 million release clause in Almiron's contract, but who's going to pay that? Nobody. He's not worth 60 million. Maybe 15, 20 million at most, but certainly not 60 million. unless the Saudis want to come in and pay 60 million quid, and then there's nothing anybody can do about it because it is a release clause. So player trading is hard for our club. But we need to get more sponsorship in. But the sponsorship rules have been changed yet again, and the Premier League teams have voted for that 16-4. So that now falls down to PIF and Jamie Rubin, or the Rubin brothers. What are they doing as owners? Why aren't we fighting these rules? Why are we just sitting back and accepting that what the Premier League are doing? Just sit back, let's accept these rules and say, right, it's fine. It's not fine because it's unfair. It's anti-competitive. They're stopping us competing. That was what the idea was when the Saudis first took over, and as soon as Amanda Staveley got those Sports Direct boards started to get taken down, Leicester were the first club, let's have a vote because we can't have Newcastle getting massive sponsors in because everybody shit themselves. And that's the problem. It's jealousy. They don't want us to succeed. They don't want us to compete. They want us to stay where we are. And that's why these rules are there, to stop us from growing bigger very quickly. But our owners, what are they doing about the rules? Are they worried about it? Are they bothered about the rules? Now, Yasser says in that interview last year that he wants to be number one. Right, where's the number one? We're not seeing it, are we? We're not seeing that we want to be up there challenging. Because if you're not going to challenge the rules, then how are we ever going to compete with PSR and FFP and all this malarkey? Because I'm sick of hearing it in every interview. It's PSR. Soon that three-letter word will be put in the Oxford Dictionary. You know, because it's the most talked about 3 letters. And everybody's just getting sick of it. Where's the ambition? Since Amanda's left, we don't really hear a lot from the club. Okay, we had the event the other week at the Stack, but other than that, don't hear a lot. And, you know, nothing comes out from the club whatsoever. So, what is the ambitions? Are we still striving to be that number one? Or are we just happy with mediocrity? Because if you're happy with mediocrity, then what's the point of having the richest owners in world football if we can't spend the money? Yes, I know we're under constraints. But why can't our owners go out, spend a bit of money and make that money back up over the 3-year cycle? So when the PSR cycle comes around the end of the 3 years, that money's made back up by then. You know, Man United go around spending money left, right and centre and they're in debt. Oh, but they get to help out with a COVID payment as well. You know, it stinks. It's corruption. It stinks. We know it does. But I just want to know what our ambitions are. You know, it's all right saying it in front of a camera, but you've got to put these actions speak louder than words. And you've got to put it into practice. So let's see where their ownership is on this. Going back to Eddie Howe, as I said, originally I want to see this man succeed and bring us trophies. I thought with what he did, going around the different managers like Sarri and that, I thought maybe stuff like that, he'd come back, he'd be a better manager for it. He says he's learned a lot, but what's he learned? Because we're not seeing anything different. We play the 4-3-3 system. You know, nothing seems to get changed a lot during games. You know, you should change your formation during games if you think, you know, just to try and counteract the other team. But we don't see a lot of that. We just see mainly this 4-3-3 system. And we're becoming predictable. And people know what we are doing. Teams know how we set up and play. So teams are then setting up to make sure that they can try and stop us. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't have lost it. We shouldn't have lost to Brentford yesterday. We should have took them apart. We should have been 4-2 up at half time, but we weren't. We lost the game 4-2. But it could have been worse than that. Had those other 2 goals gone in, it would have been 6-2. Is Eddie Howe the right man to take this club forward? I don't think he is, no. I was on the fence, but I've gone over the fence to the other side, and I think it's time for change. Now, a lot of people might not like that and might not agree to that. But I think Eddie Howe is looking tired. If I'm honest, if you look at him in interviews, he doesn't look himself. Is he feeling the pressure? Is he thinking himself, I've took this club as far as I can go? But he's not going to go around saying I'm resigning. He's going to wait till he's pushed and gets a little payout. Which every manager does. They don't just resign, they wait for the payouts. Now, I think the time is coming towards the end for Eddie Howe. He's done 3 years here. I think he's done fantastic what he's done here. Saved us from relegation because after 14 games without winning, all the pundits had us to go down, regardless. But we stayed up. But we didn't just stay up, we stayed up well and truly. We finished 11th place. We ended up actually finishing, I think, about 9 points from 7th place. So considering we were nailed on to go down, we did very well. The second season, we got Champions League. Now, people say, did we overachieve? Maybe. But then you could say Liverpool were crap that season. Chelsea were crap that season. Last season, we finished 7th. Man U go and win the FA Cup final. That stops us getting a European place, which it would normally have got you the Conference League. Now, do we say, was that game rigged? Did City rig that game so Man U could win the trophy to stop us getting into Europe? Because something's dodgy about it. I'm sorry, because Man City last season were great last season, and you would nail them on to go and make history by becoming the first double winners, but they didn't. Or were their players still on the drink because of winning the title, and they couldn't be bothered? So who knows? But considering we had Champions League last season, again, another game, Eddie Howe's game management is not the best either. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And this is where I think change will happen eventually. Now, I expect he's probably going to be in the dugout for the Leicester game next Saturday at St James's Park. That's going to be huge. We have to win that game. Then we've got Brentford in the Carabao Cup. Now, they've got a wretched away record. We need to capitalise on that at St James's Park and beat them. But first of all, as I say, Eddie Howe has got to get things sorted out. He should come out. Okay, he doesn't come out and blame players, but I hope in that dressing room he's giving them a rollicking. I hope he really well is. He needs to pull them into training on Monday morning and say, right, what the hell was that on Saturday? Get this sorted now. Because it's not acceptable. Botman will be back soon, which will be absolutely fantastic, although he can't go straight in the team because he'll have to get his match fitness up, like Wilson is doing, coming off and having cameos. But we can't wait to see him back. We're Rolls Royce. We've missed him at the back. Shares look terrible for giving goals away. Byrne, I think, has been absolutely great for us, if I'm honest. Yes, okay, he's had a couple this season, but other than that, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, that turn of pace he got yesterday to stop that ball going in, that was determination. That's what I want to see from the players. I want to see the fight and the drive, you know. These players can't just turn up for the big games and not for the smaller games. Because they're not smaller games. Every game in the Premier League is a big game. This is an important season for us. And if we want European football this season, which we need to do, then we better damn well make sure we pull our socks up and start playing and start giving us fans what we really want to see. Because those fans who travelled to Brentford yesterday, that was disgusting. For them to stand there and witness that must have been horrible. Not to mention it was Storm Dara yesterday and the conditions were awful to travel in. And they've come down to be greeted with that. Now, come on. Pull your socks up, team, and stop putting it out there for the bigger games. Because I tell you now, if we don't get Europe this season, and I'm not saying this on a whim or anything like that, I can see Bruno leaving and I can see Isak definitely going. Because these players are ambitious, they want to play European football, they want to win trophies. And they're not going to hang around. Anthony Gordon may be another one. They're not going to hang around. Players are ambitious. So it's vital that now we pull our socks up and we start playing damn well good football again. If we can do it against the bigger teams, do it against the lesser teams as well. You can't just switch on one performance for one part and then switch it off for another part. It's got to be consistent. We're not seeing the consistency. Let's see some consistency, please, because, there's not a huge gap at the moment to get into Europe. But if we keep going the way we are, there's going to be a gap created, and then you're not going to make that gap up. So we've got to start turning up. Anyway, guys, that's coming to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and if you have, then please don't forget to smash the thumbs up. It does help the channel, so please follow Sean the Sheep there and smash the thumbs up. Also, if you're brand new at the channel, come and hit the subscribe. Come be part of this great community. Also, hit the bell notification. That tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. As I always say, try and be positive, everybody. Remember, the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're doing. And let's hope the Lasses can win in the FA Cup against the Smoggies. That's a 1 p.m. kickoff. But until then, away the lads and the lasses, and I bid you farewell.